ile shida yenye inafanya hata polisi za ingine ipige wakora risasi ni kwa sababu wanashikwa, wanaenda, wanarudi, wanakuja kuchekelea polisi kuambia sasa tulifika wapi, hakuna penye tunaenda. Si ukweli? Na tumeambia polisi mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station piga yeye risasi.
This is not a rumor. This is not fake news. This is a real government official, caught on camera, urging police to shoot unarmed protesters in Kenya. Yes, shoot. No rubber bullets. No tear gas. Just gunfire. The kind that kills. The kind that silences. The kind that turns a peaceful protest into a massacre. And now, the nation is furious. The streets are already soaked with blood. Young people have already been killed. Mothers are already mourning. And now this? A minister, whose job is to serve and protect, encouraging violence against the very citizens crying out for justice? Let that sink in. This isn't just a political scandal. This is a human rights crisis. Because the message is clear. Protest and we'll shoot you. And the protesters? They aren't armed rebels. They're students. They're unemployed youth. They're activists fighting for a future. Most of them are Gen Z, angry, betrayed, and done being polite. They marched against a tax bill. They demanded dignity. And the response from their leaders? Shoot them. The video of this minister's shocking statement has now gone viral. Clips have circulated across social media. Outrage has erupted from Nairobi to London. Even international human rights groups are weighing in. And yet, silence from the top. No resignation. No suspension. No apology. So we ask, what kind of government instructs its forces to fire on its own youth? What kind of leadership fears its people so much that it resorts to bullets? Let's be clear. This isn't just about one minister. It's about a system. A culture of impunity. A leadership that sees dissent as a threat, instead of a right. What we're witnessing in Kenya is not democracy. It's not governance. It's state-sanctioned brutality. And for millions of young Kenyans, this is the final straw. They've endured unemployment, corruption, police harassment, and now, open calls for execution? No wonder they're rising. No wonder they're blocking highways, storming parliament, and chanting Ruto must go. Because at this point, it's not just about taxes. It's about survival. And still, the protesters remain peaceful. They're marching with placards. They're recording every moment. They're wearing Kenyan flags like armor, not to protect their bodies, but to protect their identity. Because they believe in this country. They just don't believe in the people running it. Now the world is watching. The African Union. The United Nations. The diaspora. Everyone is asking, will there be accountability? Will this minister be held responsible for inciting violence? Or will they hide behind politics, while more youth are gunned down? The truth is painful, but it must be said. If nothing is done, the bloodshed will continue. And if leaders stay silent, they are complicit. Because every drop of blood spilled after this video is on their hands too. So what happens now? That depends on the people. Because this video has changed everything. It exposed the truth behind the curtain. It proved what many already feared, that this government is willing to kill to keep control. But it also lit a fire. A fire in the hearts of young Kenyans. And that fire is spreading. They've taken to social media, organizing under hashtags like hashtag Ruto must go, hashtag justice for Kenya, hashtag stop the shootings, hashtag minister must resign. And they're not backing down. This moment is no longer just a protest. It's a movement. A demand for justice. A call for a new Kenya, one that values life over power. And it starts with accountability. So to the minister who made that statement, you may have authority. You may wear a suit and ride in a convoy. But your words have exposed your heart. And history will remember what you said. Not as leadership, but as cowardice. And to the youth of Kenya, the world sees you. The world hears you. Keep raising your voices. Keep demanding truth. Keep marching for justice, even when they try to silence you. Because this fight is bigger than a bill. It's about your future. Your right to exist. Your right to protest without a bullet in your chest. But this didn't come out of nowhere. Kenya has been walking toward this moment for years. The warning signs were there, in every broken promise, every election rigged, every protest met with force. And now, with this minister's leaked words, the mask is off. This is the raw face of power when it's scared. When a government has no answers, it turns to fear. When it can't silence your ideas, it tries to silence your body. When it can't win your mind, it targets your life. That's what this is. A war against the idea of change. Because what scares them the most isn't violence. It's hope. It's youth who believe they deserve better. It's a generation that refuses to be ruled by fear. And make no mistake, this generation is different. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for elections. They organize. They educate. They document. They are digital. They are decentralized. And they are not afraid. When this minister gave that order, maybe they thought it would be hidden. Maybe they thought no one would hear. But this is 2025. There are no secrets. There are only screens. And what's seen cannot be unseen. What's said cannot be unsaid. And what's done will be remembered. This moment is Kenya's mirror. And what it shows is painful. It shows a state that is quick to punish dissent but slow to fix what's broken. A state that sees its youth as threats, instead of the future. A government that demands loyalty, but offers no justice. And what does history tell us? That regimes which turn on their people don't last. That fear is not a sustainable policy. That bullets might kill a protester, but they cannot kill a movement. From Burkina Faso to Tunisia, from Nigeria to Sudan, African youth have risen before. They rose when their leaders became deaf. They rose when corruption became unbearable. They rose when peaceful demands were met with brutality. And every time, the same story played out. First they ignore you. Then they laugh at you. Then they beat you. Then they fall. Kenya's youth know this story. And now, they are writing their own chapter. They are not just protesting a minister's words. They are protesting decades of neglect. They are saying, enough is enough. Enough to economic slavery. Enough to elite impunity. Enough to blood-stained politics. They want a new Kenya. Not tomorrow. Not after the next election. Now. And here's the irony, the government could have listened. It could have opened dialogue. Withdrawn the bill. Heard the cries. But instead, it chose force. It chose violence. It chose bullets. And now, it is reaping the consequence. This isn't a public relations crisis. It's a legitimacy crisis. Because once people no longer see you as their voice, you are done. Once they see you as an enemy, your time is ticking. And right now, every gunshot, every bloodied protester, every leaked video, is a countdown. International leaders must speak now. Not tomorrow. Not when the funerals are over. The African Union must act. The international media must amplify. And the Kenyan opposition, if they have any courage, must stand with the people, not just tweet from safe distances. Because silence now is complicity. As the dust settles on bloodied streets. As tear gas fades into the wind. As families gather in mourning. The question hangs in the air. How did we get here? How did a government become so afraid of its own people? How did a minister become so comfortable with murder? How did a democracy start looking like a dictatorship? The answer is simple. Bit by bit. Step by step. Lie after lie. Until one day the people said, no more. This isn't just a political issue. It's a moral line. Either you believe that protest is a right, or you believe it's a crime. Either you believe that youth deserve to be heard, or you believe they deserve to be hunted. Either you stand for justice, or you stand in the way of it. There is no middle ground. To the minister who gave that order, you may still sit in office today, but your words have already put you on trial, in the court of history. And there, the verdict is already written. To the president, the country is burning under your watch. The youth are not your enemies. But if you treat them as such, they will remember. To the world, Kenya is crying for help. Not charity, not pity, but visibility. Accountability, truth. And finally, to Kenya's youth, you are not alone. You are not wrong. You are not weak. You are the pulse of this nation. You are the dream of every Kenyan who believed in freedom. You are the answer to every generation that gave up. So rise, speak, march. Because if you don't fight for your future, no one else will. They can shoot your legs, but not your ideas. They can tear your signs, but not your spirit. They can arrest your bodies, but never your movement. This is your country. This is your moment. And no minister, no matter how cruel, can take that from you. And now, the world holds its breath. Because what happens next will define Kenya for a generation. This is not just about a minister's words. It's about what those words revealed. They pulled back the curtain on a system willing to crush its future to protect its power. But this time, the future is fighting back. Not with guns. Not with violence. But with truth. With videos. With unity. With courage. This movement doesn't need a single leader, because every protester is a voice. Every chant is a declaration. Every step on the street is a refusal to bow. And no matter how the government spins it, no matter how many times they say, things are under control, we see the fear in their eyes. Because when a system starts killing its own citizens, it's already lost the argument. This is Kenya's test. Will it choose violence or vision? Will it silence its youth, or finally listen? You cannot build a nation on spilled blood and broken promises. You cannot preach democracy while gassing teenagers and ordering snipers. The soul of Kenya is crying out. Not just for change, but for accountability. For healing. For justice. This is where history pauses. And waits. It waits to see who will stand up. Who will speak truth? Who will act when it matters most? Because this is not just a Kenyan story. This is a universal story. A story of youth rising everywhere against corruption, inequality, and state violence. From Lagos to Nairobi, from Johannesburg to Khartoum, this is a new Africa. One that refuses to be ruled by fear. One that's ready to fight, not with weapons, but with purpose. And if you're watching this from across the ocean, don't scroll past. Because Kenya's fight is your fight too. This is about what kind of world we want to live in. A world where politicians can casually call for death on camera? Or a world where truth holds power to account? To the mothers who've lost children, your grief is not invisible. To the youth who risk their lives to speak, your voice is not wasted. To the leaders still hiding behind silence, your time is running out. Because a storm is building. And it won't stop until justice is done. This is more than a protest. It's a reckoning. And when Kenya rises, the world must rise with it.